I'm going to show you how I lighten my workload in my raised garden beds using automatic timers combined with wood mulch. One of the best ways to reduce the workload here in the garden is making sure that everything is on drip system and connected to an automatic timer. It takes a little bit more effort in setting it up, but once it's set up, it's going to save you tremendously. Each of these beds is 3 feet wide, 10 feet long, and the drip line runs in this fashion. There's 3 lines, and the holes are 6 inches in interval. Each bed is plumbed with its own separate riser, and it can be shut off individually. Once I actually invested the time in setting everything up on timer, it was one of the biggest time savers for me of all, because I only really have to water during periods of extremely hot temperatures. Another thing that saves me a lot of time and effort here in the garden is the use of wood chip mulch. For me, it just makes a tremendous amount of sense. For one, it's in completely free organic material that I can get as much as I possibly want. And since the walking surface in between my garden beds is that same wood mulch, it really doesn't matter when I'm removing this wood mulch if I spill it over into this area. You'll never know. The benefit is multifaceted. First off, it's going to help to suppress weeds. I actually do get some weeds that pop through, but not near as numerous if I didn't have this mulch covering the surface. It's also retaining all of the moisture. By removing this, you can see what the soil looks like just underneath the surface. Keeps that soil temperature regulated. I'm putting down some fresh mulch on this bed behind me. It's kind of in a Three Sisters type of an arrangement, and I'll give you a little bit closer look, show you what's going on. This bed is just getting its first mulch today, and sometimes I like to let the stuff that I've planted get a little bit established before I mulch. And on other instances, it's not really necessary. For example, this bed right next to it has been planted with corn just 2 days ago, and it's going to be getting mulch today. Corn has no problem pushing through that mulch that I'm going to apply. And so essentially what I do is just come in and just place this in by hand. This is going to make the plants a lot happier, soil life a lot happier. It's going to be less weeds, and less amount of water is going to be required. And again, it really doesn't matter if I spill some of this. That just saves me time and effort of having to worry about cleaning up on my walking surface. The real downside is I have to remove this material about every 3 years. And I did a video earlier in the year kind of showing what that process is. And essentially all that wood chip wound up going out into the orchard. That is what all these trees are planted into. So how I have this set up is sunflower growing down the center, which is essentially the support structure for the things growing on either side. And so off to this side, I've got pickling cucumber. There's also some sugar snap peas in there, which are going to benefit from this support structure. You can already see it's starting to take a wrap around this, and it's going to continue to climb as this gets higher in elevation. When I plant in this configuration, as this plant grows up in height, I'll remove some of these lower leaves coming out, which is going to let in more sunlight for the things that are growing underneath. Otherwise, this has a tendency to get shaded out. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place a cattle panel structure over the top of this, which is going to help to support these as these get taller and these heads start to develop. They're going to become very heavy, and in the wind they may be susceptible to being blown over. So that's what that cattle panel structure is going to do, and I'm going to go ahead and get that installed, and I'll show you the end result. I've got a number of these cattle panels that are cut to size, and I use them when I'm trying to exclude birds from coming in and eating my smaller stuff, where I'll put over the top of this, I'll put bird netting. With this cattle panel now in place, as this sunflower continually grows up and gets a little bit more height on it, it's going to poke its way through the top of this cattle panel, just providing it a little bit more stability. So now 15 days later, and the corn is pushing through nicely. It's well established. And the Three Sisters arrangement is also developing nicely. A little bit closer look down here, you can see some of the peas and some of these other climbing elements are starting to attach themselves to the sunflower stalks that are running up through the center. One of the true benefits in planting in a polyculture type of an arrangement is that this diverse group of plants is going to bring in a diverse array of insects and other beneficial wildlife. It's also going to be providing a diverse array of root exudates for the microbiology that we're trying to develop. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.